So I'd like to talk a little bit about food treats, what I'm using for treats, why I'm using what I'm using, the kind of treats that you use, and treat placement, how they're delivered to the dog is an art all in itself. So when I want a lot of attention from a dog, when I'm working with a puppy, say, or if I'm doing a behavior that might be complex for the dog, or if I need a lot of dog, I use baked chicken. That is just an oh my gosh, it's amazing thing for a puppy. It's nutritious. It's anything that is, so let's see. So there are high value treats and low value treats. High value treats, just by definition, take time to prepare, are wet, messy, inconvenient of some sort. Anything that you can smell and that's, slippery in your hands is going to be something that appeals to a dog. If I need a lot of dog, I use a high value treat. If I am working with a litter of pups, say, in and among sheep, and I want slower dogs, baked chicken will not be my choice, because they'll be so excited about the chicken that there's a up kind of level of energy that will get in the way of my training. And so I would elect not to use it then. Once a dog learns how to be a clicker dog, learns that there is a game, that the sound is followed by something tasty, then that learned history will allow me to use treats that are of lower value. But to start with, it has to be a pain in the neck for me. So I use baked chicken. I put a whole bunch of chicken on a cookie sheet. I bake it all at once. I let it kind of dry, and I put it in the fridge, and then I cut it all up in baggies that have about a cup a piece of tiny little pieces. I stick them in the freezer. So that's pretty convenient. I don't like to use packaged treats at all, that stuff. I don't know what is in it, but a lot of them dogs don't like, and it's not good for them. There's just a lot of yucky stuff in there, so I don't use that. There is a product that I'll put in this blog post that is a dried meat dog food product that's expensive, but it's good for dogs, and I can throw it. And treat placement matters, and it's a pretty high value treat, but not as high as chicken. So I can often, it's better than a dried dog biscuit, but it's not baked chicken, it's somewhere in the middle, and that is pretty convenient for me. When the dogs get a little bit savvy about clicker training, I can often put some other kinds of things that are medium or lower value treats and mix them in with the baked chicken in my baggie, and that blends the smell and the messiness of it a little bit, and I can get more mileage out of something as expensive as baked chicken. So treat placement really matters. First of all, if I'm working with a dog that is likely to put his feet on me, I'm not going to feed him right in front of me, because dogs like to come right up to a person and jump up and put their feet on me. So I'll deliver the treat from the side. If I'm dealing with puppies that have little shark teeth, I may throw it on the ground for them or set it at my feet rather than having to take it from my fingers. Most dogs that I work with when they're young learn to be pretty polite about taking food, and that is something, it's a behavior that stays with them. So I don't run into too much trouble with bitey dogs, but sometimes training dogs that come here that haven't had that start can be that way. I can use treat delivery to bring a dog to me or to send a dog away from me. So in the case of a behavior that I want to have happen in front of me repeatedly, like to come up and mand in front of me, if I've got a dog in front of me and I continue to pay, he's never going to leave. Why would he leave? This is a cool thing. So I will mark and reinforce the dog for manding, and then I'll throw something away from me. And the dog goes charging off away from me. When he turns and he makes eye contact with me, I can mark and reinforce him, and I can bring him back to me, or I can mark and reinforce that, show him a hand target, and that'll bring him back to me. Then I can give him a treat, then I can throw another one. I can get a lot of energy going with the dog just by how I deliver it and how I throw it and where it is and all that stuff. So that matters. Also, if inherent to clicker training, marking a behavior stops a behavior because you've identified a behavior as the one that wins and the one you're going to pay for. So the dog will stop a behavior and come to me for a reinforcement. that isn't always what I want if I have a nice rhythm going with dogs out with livestock or any number of reasons. So I will often treat next to me as I'm walking. So I'll feed and I'll walk and I'll mark and reinforce for something else, and I'll walk and I'll travel and I'll keep a dog moving, but I will reinforce them without breaking stride. We keep traveling. So those are things to consider. So a dry cookie sort of a thing is really low value. Messy is high value. Trying to think of anything else that's super critical. Anyway, that's probably a good enough place to leave that.